everybody. So today what I'm going to talk to you about is I want to share with you five tips that I learned from doing a very long road trip. Before I begin, I just want to give the little caveat of I really like road trips. I've always liked road trips. I took road trips with my parents as a kid, and I've taken road trips since I was an adult and on my own, and I love them. And yeah, I think that they're great. But so my husband and I, this was the first time we did an extremely long road trip. So what we did is we live in Southern California, kind of by Disneyland, and we went all the way up to Washington, basically across the way from the Seattle area into a small little area. And the reason why we wanted to do that is because Eric and I, our families are from different areas. My family is down here in California, and Eric's family lives in Washington. And we lived in Washington for a little bit. Now we're living to California. And living apart from your family is really hard. There's ways to make it easier, but there's just no way to sugarcoat it. It's hard to live away from your family. And one thing that really helps is having to be able to take trips up to see them. And specifically, I think one thing that helps is to be able to take spur-of-the-moment trips. Specifically because Eric's grandparents, he still has his grandparents. They're alive, which is such a blessing. And so we just want to be able to make sure that we could go up and see them at any time's notice, because sometimes flights are just really expensive for last minute flights, and we wanted to be able to see if we can make that drive from California to Washington in one shot in case we ever needed to, or quite frankly in case we wanted to, because it would be saving us from having to do a rental car and flight. So maybe we'd be able to afford more trips up to see his side of the family, because being close to both sides of our family is really important to us. That's something we really want to try to develop. So sorry for this long intro, but so we did it. So we did that whole shot in one trip. So I believe it says it's about 16 or 17 hours around that time, if you look on the maps on your phone. And we got up at 4 in the morning, and we made it there at 11, and we should have our little road trip vlog up if you want to check it out. And during that trip, I have learned 5 things. So I have a little notebook here, and so if you see me looking down, that's why. Alright, let's get into it. Sorry, I'm rambling. Okay, so here are my 5 tips for surviving and enjoying a really long road trip or a long car ride. The first one is know yourself. If you cannot be in a car for a really long time, don't do it. Eric and I would both love road tripping. Also, if you cannot be stuck in a car for a long time with whoever you are road tripping, don't do it. Make sure you know yourself. So Eric and I had some different issues that we learned about ourselves on this road trip that we will use to be able to help our future road trips, about knowing ourselves. So the first thing Eric learned was he likes to push himself, and he kind of learned how to give me control of driving when he was tired. So he would prefer to push himself and just drive the whole way, but during that long road trip is just not possible. So during this trip, he had to just kind of admit when he was tired, admit where he was not doing so well, so he could go sit, sleep, take a nap while I was driving, and so he could revive himself, so for a safety reason. I learned some things about myself that was a little bit embarrassing, to be honest. So Eric and I have only had one car for quite a while now, a couple of years. There's some reasons for that, but we just, to be honest, we don't need 2 cars right now. We are perfectly fine sharing, and we don't need that extra expense, so we don't put that extra expense on us. And I don't really like driving. I'm fine as a passenger, but I don't really like driving. So Eric drives me everywhere. He's like my little chauffeur, basically. So if I need to go anywhere, I just ask him to drive me. I can drive. I just don't like to drive. You know, I like to pretend like I'm a fancy lady who has her own chauffeur. And so specifically, I learned on this trip, I do not like driving when it is dark outside on curvy roads when there is road construction. So my biggest fear is being in a car crash. Like, that's by far my biggest fear. And specifically, I had a little bit of a panic attack on this driving, because what was happening is there was a lot of road construction, and there was one lane that got taken, and I just happened to be in that one lane that got taken off to the side, and it was like curving, and so just the way that the road was, it looked like that there were cars coming straight at me, and I was enclosed by like those construction walls, you know, the white construction walls that they have. And so I was freaking out. I could not handle it. Like, I was legit like hands on the steering wheel. I know the cars weren't coming toward me. It was just the angle that was, but I was freaking out. I just was like breathing out. Like, it was hard to breathe in during that time. And I don't know if where that came from. That seemed to come out of nowhere, because I'm fine driving, you know, but it was just those set up circumstances, like, I freaked out. So on the way back, we learned I am taking the daytime hours, and Eric will take early morning and late at night, and I will drive during the day most of the time. So I highly recommend, make sure you know yourself, make sure you know what you are comfortable with in that. All right, tip number 2, consider the weather. For our situation, we had to consider the sun and where the sun was. So if you're taking a long road trip, more than likely you're going to see the sunrise and the sunset, and that could feel a little bit dangerous, having the sun possibly like come up and almost blind you, and it's really hard to see. So what we did was we took hats with us, and that helped a ton. Another issue we had during the sun, which we weren't expecting because it's fall and it's not super hot, so Eric was just wearing a short sleeve shirt, and how the sun was hitting him, he was getting sunburn. Like, I had a jacket on, so I was okay, or a little sweater, and he was totally getting sunburned, and there wasn't a lot that he could do about it. Like, we covered him with a quilt. So next time what we're going to do is we're going to make like a jacket easily available, or just have him drive in a long sleeve shirt so he doesn't get sunburned. Alright, so we have know yourself, consider the weather, and number 3, purchase drinks ahead of time. Caffeinated drinks, water, everything. This actually saved a lot, and I was surprised at how much, but it saved a lot when we stopped. So Eric and I stop and get snacks just because it's something to do to break it up a lot of times when we get gas. And also because we were focused on speed for breakfast and lunch, and I think dinner, we went through drive-thrus, and we just ordered something quick off the dollar menu, and we kept eating in our car. And that actually, not buying drinks, saved us a lot of money. Like, for each meal, for both of us, we were able to spend like less than $10. And our snacks were like $2-3 every time we stopped. So we probably spent, for the whole day of eating, under $40, maybe $50, somewhere around there. And it was just like purchasing our drinks beforehand, and so they were ready to go whenever we were thirsty or we needed a little caffeine boost. So that was tip number 3. Tip number 4 is take care of your car, and of course I mean, like, make sure you have good tires, make sure you got your oil change, all those things. But also, maybe think of some little things. So what Eric did was he put new windshield wipers on, and these windshield wipers have, I believe it's called Rain-X, I'm not sure, sorry about that. But basically it was some sort of like oil or something that you put on that they put on the windshield wiper. And what happens is that it helps like make the little raindrops go like whoosh, and they go up and they get out of your way really fast. So I was surprised at how much of a difference it made in just being able to keep our view clear. Once again, Eric's from Washington. He has no problem with the rain or driving in the rain or whatever, but it was really nice just how much of a difference. And another thing we did was we just brought like a little trash bag, like I think it was a Trader Joe's bag, just to try to keep the trash contained, because like I said, we were eating a lot in the car just to be able to try to make this drive up there to see our family, and it gets crazy. So it's just nice to keep everything up to keep your car nice. Alright, the last one, tip number 5, is really enjoy yourself. So sometimes you might choose to do a long road trip for financial reasons, but it is also a really good way to see the country. Like, part of California along the 5 is pretty boring, you know, but for instance, whenever we drive through Oregon, it was absolutely beautiful. So it was really nice when you drive, you really get the feel of what a different state is, which is nice. Of course, if you stayed there, you would really understand it more, but driving, you at least get to see the diversity and the different beauty. And it also is a really good way to really get to have some good conversations with whoever you're driving with, or really to get some good alone time if you're by yourself. So Eric and I had both, even though we were in the car. Like, he gave me some time because usually when I'm at home, like, my personality is I don't stop unless I'm sleeping. You know, I like to go, go, go. So it was just really nice. I was driving. Eric he was sleeping, so it felt like I had alone time. I was just driving on the 5. I had my podcast on. Some things that I like are just really uplifting and entertaining, and I just was able to feel revived because it just made my heart and my mind slow down. And I really need to do that more, because just having time to slow everything down and not feel guilty, because I feel guilty a lot when I try to slow down, it really does benefit you, and I need to try to take that guilt away. Eric and I also had some really good long conversations. Like, we talked a lot about just different hypothetical situations about whenever we're parents. We're not we're not pregnant yet or anything like that, but it's just really fun to just talk about what we think our life will be like, what are we going to do in these different circumstances and things. Like, those are important conversations to have. And then it's also just really confirming when you just realize that the person you're married to, or whoever you're with, like, just feeling like you're on the same page and that you're in something together. So I would just really recommend just enjoy it. Like, there's going to be traffic, probably. There's going to be little hiccups and stuff, but it's part of an adventure. And if you look at going on a road trip as an adventure and not as just some good Instagram time, you know, if you look beyond that, I think it could really give you some special memories. Yeah, so those are my 5 tips for a long road trip. Eric and I, we actually are going to, if we drive up there again, we think that we're going to keep going with this one day, because on the way back we broke it into 2 days and we did not like it as much. We just like to get it done and get it over with. Yeah, so thanks. See ya later.